Hi everyone, welcome to the Movers Corner, episode 4. My name is Banele Shabalala.
And I'm Edwin Lebuiso, and on today's episode, we're unpacking music and fashion. Anele?
Yeah, sure. Actually, it's one of those topics which I really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know you'd probably argue otherwise on the fashion part because,
Yeah.
guys, look, I like wearing my shorts, and this guy has a problem with that. But you know what? We're not going to start with that.
It's a different topic.
We're not going to start with that. So maybe let me start on the music on itself, right?
Yeah.
So, one thing is, look, I've always been a huge fan of music, overall. But I think I started more on the hip hop and rap kind of background. And growing up, there were these guys called Microphonic Tongues. And no, look, don't worry. There are actually names on it, which you might actually
Shout out
recognize.
to
Microphonic Tongues, Scissor Dome. You know yourself, dude. Back in the day when you used to be Scatterbrain, you and Microphonic Tongues, remember? That's the Microphonic Tongues I'm talking about.
Okay.
So yeah, back before Scissor Dome even went on MTV base.
Scissor Drum.
Yes, there's one. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's actually people you might actually know from there.
Okay.
And they had a huge influence with regards to how the culture shaped us. So as hip hop artists, they were actually quite big around Ilokshin, Wandengezi, surrounding areas, Clermont, going all the way to Lamontville. They were quite big as a group. A guy called K Black also has a couple of collaborations with known artists also right now. I just can't remember them off the top, but he also went in. There's a guy called MSK who was part and parcel of it. He went into fashion. I'll link that up later on when we want to get to the segment of fashion per se. And the hip hop culture, which is what I was more actually into.
What year was this?
I think we need you make it me sound as if I'm
what
old.
year was this?
All right, cool. This is the early to mid 2000s. So 2002, 2003, somewhere there. So I was like in the 5th, 6th grade, somewhere there.
Yeah.
For me, guys, don't stop calculating my age. No, you can. It's not that much.
Yeah.
It influenced a lot. They were talking about what was happening in and around Ilokshin, right? So at that time, we were busy taking on the international stage and actually absorbing it. So like Abo Park was still quite big, even though it was over 6 years since he had passed. And so we're looking at being hard and going all that.
Can I play devil's advocate, right?
Go ahead.
For me, I felt like South African hip hop in particular was in the bins, especially in the early it was really in the bins. It really started to take off after Squatter Camp. I think Squatter Camp was the one who actually took it to a higher level, but before then, it was really in the bin. Honestly, it was.
Sorry,
it was
guys.
Really,
By the way, these are not my views. This is his view. But to an extent, I actually kind of agree with you. I think on a commercial level, it wasn't really commercialized or had a commercial appeal to the masses when you look at hip hop per se. So whatever was being spoken about, was not really that relevant, to be honest. And Squatter Camp actually kind of did that. But besides that, I moved on to high school. That's when I actually learned about house. I never really liked house until I got there.
Yeah,
and I learned more.
House is another one. To be honest, the history of South African music is a bit sketchy.
I don't know where house started. Maybe we'll
but I
bring
remember I was in grade 7. Bojo Mojo. Bojo Mojo was quite. He was quite good. So if that qualifies as house,
that's the mid 2000s.
That was dope. That one was dope. I remember we used to rock it in my scholar. So I was in scholar transport. So I was I was one of those kids. I think we need to have a chat about that as well.
Yeah.
Because I remember the other time where the transport actually left me at school. That time, okay, that was an ordeal in itself.
Guys, I am sorry.
So-
a snippet there. For abantu like KZN, listen. Oh my loom, transport. Oh my loom, that's transport. That's what he means. And I'm saying this because I'm guilty at thinking of this way.
Cool.
It's like transport, I'm thinking, oh wait, but no, oh my loom. Yeah.
Yeah, oh my lube left me. But anyway, yeah, it's so I remember Bush and Bush because we used to play it quite frequently in that cab of his. Umalume would get there at 6, boy. Volume 136. You knew it was a vibe before you got to school. You were vibing before you even got to school. So yeah, for me, in terms of, like I said, South African music for me has been quite sketchy, and the fact that I grew up on soul and R&B from my parents. I was a little bit detached from the entire sort of industry for a very, very long time.
South African industry.
The South African industry. That's, I think, when the likes of, from a hip hop perspective, like I said, when the likes of the Squatter Camps, the pros, that's when I started having
You're
a bit
skipping
of
out somebody
interest.
who's very important.
Double HP.
Somebody also.
Who?
Pitch Black.
Pitch Black Afro, yeah. Hey, Pitch Black night. Hey. But anyway, cool. So yeah, for me, I was still detached for quite some time, and it didn't help that the American hip hop scene was so strong at the time. So I'm talking, say, from the late 2000s to like 2012. Like your YMCMB, your Lil Wayne's, all of that. They're so strong that, like, our guys, you like, the level of quality, hey, it wasn't quite the same. So
100%.
Yeah.
Actually, on that point, just to kind of derail, do you think when the law was passed, or the rule, I forgot what the correct term was, whereby they said it was a 90%
local.
I think. Don't you think that actually
To be
changed
honest,
every single thing we think about our entire industry?
I'm a huge advocate of the 90% thing. Because think about it, and I'm not being, this is not me being support local or whatever, but other countries aren't listening to our music. Like, if we have platforms where we're prioritizing other countries' music over ours, what are we doing for artist development in the level of quality of our own artists? Do you understand? So I feel like the 90% thing, it was a catalyst for like how artists started making enough money. All of that. I think that,
and yeah, we actually groomed our own, and we started building our own.
100%.
Because when you think about it, even take for instance for an AKA, he was in the scene more or less at that time.
AKA,
yeah, he was there.
He's a problem. Yeah,
he was awesome.
Yeah.
But then I think with the 90 part, we also learned more about other artists.
Yeah.
Like, take a guy who was also in the scene a bit. I think more or less I think he came into the scene after AKA, because technically I regard AKA in the industry during the times of Entity, right? And there was a guy called Umaraza at that time. Now you guys know him as Umaraza, man. But he was there. But
Umaraza was the guy who came with one track.
He still no. He had tracks prior to that. Guys kind of do.
Just saying, Umaraza one track killed the game, man.
No, look.
I'm not calling him a one-hit wonder. I'm just saying.
Well, look, I could argue that because he's blind, I have it and I still bump it. Some nice tracks there. But I feel he would have been put in the back seats a bit more if that didn't happen, because more people knew it because of the percentage rule, because compilers were scrambling for local. And to be honest, I'll be honest, anybody can challenge me. Put on the comments. You can call me. You can mail me. I don't care. WhatsApp, it's fine.
Spam him on mail.
Let me know. Do you really think if that rule wasn't passed, we wouldn't actually be where we are with regards to South African music? Plus, over and above that, do you think you would have known these other artists? Would Casper have been this big? Let's be honest.
100%.
Let's be honest. And that local thing actually changed a lot. Look, when I say change a lot, what it did was the music part is very important for a culture. So South Africa also has its own culture. Yes, we have a lot of cultures, a lot of races, etc. Yeah, cool. But the music part, it reflects it. It's storytelling whereby we capture our history
100%.
and experiences.
Yeah.
So if you start killing that off, you start changing everything.
Yeah, and just to close off on this topic, and we wanted to touch on Song of the Year as well, and how so many artists got screwed over the years. But anyway, we will touch on it because there were years where you were like, no guys, how did this happen? But the day where what was the song? Was Song of the Year? My God.
Which artist? Which artist?
Oh man.
Alright, uSnyaga wahlonisa uNyaka, Tikhizi wahlonisa uNyaka, Brenda wahlonisa uNyaka.
I think those were deserving.
Umandoza did at some point. We did with Ulutuzin Umzegezege at some point. I'm not sure.
That Malaika year was quite lit for South Africa. I
was pissed off. I'll be honest why.
Why?
Because the Malaika did not release in that year. And there was in my understanding, it was supposed to be a song of that year. Malaika had released prior to that. I remember that song.
The song became prevalent.
The following year. Then I'm not sure if the rules changed or I did not know the rules at that time. But I understood the song of the year to be of that certain year. So they released it prior to that, and they weren't that big, but they only went big the following year. Then they actually became the song of the year afterwards.
But you were advocating for Maraza, and he was been releasing, came with one track.
No, you're talking about the artist thing. You're the song of the year, like two different categories. Like, I really spoke about two different brands here. I'm not gonna say it, but yeah.
Anyway, you were just But anyway, man, I just forgot. But to be honest, we've seen a lot of controversy around that. Where it's like with awards, it's very subjective. I think it's a preference thing. In most cases, where you prefer this artist or this song or whatever case may be, as opposed to, especially if you're judging. I mean, you someone will get pissed at some point because everyone has their favorite, so you can't win. It's the whole Ronaldo Messi topic, which we'll talk about in coming episodes.
So the music, I remember when David Carr was presenting an award. I'm not sure if it was the Summer or Metro, I'm not sure. But he was presenting an award, and then the winner was Steve Hofmeyer. At that moment, I did not know who Steve Hofmeyer was. And he even said, hey, Steve Hofmeyer, come take your award, man, wherever you are. I think it was David Carr. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if it was him, but yeah, I think it was David Carr, one of the comedians, guys. And he even said that, and people laughed. They thought he was joking. Actually, somebody backstage had to come in and verify the name, and the guy didn't even know that he actually won.
Yeah.
At that time.
I think also we were not exposed. I think we just need to close off on the music podcast. There's a lot around fashion that we need to discuss. I think. Like you said, prior to 90%, we were not exposed to each other's music. Local artists. That's why, like, Steve Hofmeyer is quite big, but to a select group of people. So the thing with awards is it brings all the artists and all the genres together. And also, we need to also remember that, subject to audit, right? Song of the Year is usually determined by people's votes. So if your people vote, you win. If your people don't vote,
just like idols.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's not go into it.
Okay, cool. That's another one. Oh Jesus. And but then in terms of fashion, what in terms of Gaslako, I think please touch first. What's very important is for you to touch on your Christmas clothes. He still buys clothes for Christmas.
Hey guys,
But let's touch on the
gather.
importance of Christmas Day clothes and New Year's Day clothes, right?
Yeah.
And the whole culture around that, emakasi. And then secondly, let's touch on local brands which had an impact on you. And then fast forward to present day, support local and what are your thoughts around that?
All right, cool. So I'll start off with something that we didn't mention we were going to do, probably because I think it depends on per household. But at home, guys, we were a lot of kids. We were 9 kids, same mother, same father, and of course, when you need to stretch the dollar that much, certain things needs to change a bit. So there we had impahla zokuhlala ekhaya. So these are the clothes you stay at home with. No?
Yeah.
Then you had clothes that you go to church with, and the clothes that you have when you're going out. No? Two different kind of design. It's like if you were thinking about the wardrobe, it'd be a different wardrobe altogether.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's across the board, but probably is. But that's how we were. No? And Christmas, we did not always have brand new clothing. But the parents, my parents made sure that they did something around then. We had the Christmas tree, we had a few gifts here and there. It was really not that much. Later on, as we grew up, we started celebrating birthdays, all of that. That was like kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Hence, right now, I'm also kind of struggling with the idea of celebrating a birthday more or less, celebrating certain events. Like coming to a place and then giving gifts, all of that, because it's also something a little bit different because of how I was brought up.
I think I share your sentiments there.
Yeah.
We were not brought up in a culture or in an environment where when it's Banela's birthday, I bring a gift. We got invited. You were there to celebrate with them.
Yeah.
But this whole gifting thing,
It's brand
it is brand new
It's
for
brand
me as well. No, continue.
Yeah, it's brand new. Like, shout out to my partner. She's helping me out on this. Yeah. Hi, babe. Anyways, on that part, look. Then we get to the fashion that happens in ECAS. Look, election culture is one of those brands that are very, very strong election. There was something about it that made you proud to be from ECAS. I think without election culture, we wouldn't even have the TMC, I would think.
Yeah.
Because they made us proud to be.
They were the first support local. If there's ever a founder, so like a brand that we can attribute to the whole support local, I think Loction Culture would be that brand.
Because prior to that, in Loction, you would actually have your Dickies, you would have your LS, then you had your Collies, right?
Yeah.
Mama Pantulo wearing that, and All Stars, by the way. So, election culture was, okay, say it's here.
Yeah.
When you say it with your chest. Shout out to Krista when you said that. But yeah, they changed a lot, and the fact that they grew as they did, it was something that made us believe we could do it. Like two boys from two different emakasi could actually have a YouTube channel and talk about experiences in Luxury, and it'd be comfortable and it would grow the way it's growing, and you'll be watching right now.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe. But those are things which happen, and they happen almost automatically when you think about it. But as I said, I'm gonna touch onto this. There's a guy called MSK, right? He has this clothing brand, MSK 704. He was also part of Microphonic Times. He's brilliant when it comes to clothing. He has his own label, quite awesome. He also is changing the notion within Ndengezi as it is. Guys, I mention Ndengezi a lot because that's where I'm from and my experiences come from there. So Sorry
You
if
must
I'm not
plug-
mentioning
you must
yours.
plug
but-
in.
Yeah, so
Plug in.
hey, they made me, and a number of subscribers are them. But anyways, so when you look at it, they actually also speak in the same term. It's unfortunate though, the Russian culture is not as big anymore.
Yeah.
Or I don't see them as much.
To be honest, I was under the impression that Luxian culture closed down up until I saw the documentary like 2 days ago. They celebrated 20 years last year, so shout out to Luxian culture and the founder and everyone involved in that.
Start dressing up hosts.
Guys,
We host.
come on.
Just saying.
I mean, a cap here and there goes a long way. But anyway, for me, so I grew up. So for me, Christmas and birthdays were quite important in my family. That's where you would get new clothes. And I remember for Christmas specifically, so moms would go shopping for you, and then she'd come back with the clothes, and then you'd fit the day before, just to like for example.
About that. Yeah, that happened.
The day before, yeah, you're like, hey, I'm fly.
Sorry, I blocked that out.
Like,
That part out. It's like so embarrassing.
Like, I'm so fly, yeah, well. In other instances, I remember this one other occasion where she bought me shoes, but they were a bigger size. That was the day before. There's no time to go return all of that. Hey, I was fucking my tissue with the tissues. And that actually became one of my favorite shoes. Kulina, like you say, yeah.
Tissue goes a long way.
That became
Tissue can go a long way.
that became one of my favorite shoes. So yeah, that was the Christmas culture. You dress up, go house to house, get biscuits. So we didn't do trick or treat. I don't know why people are doing trick or treats now. Okay, I don't want. Okay, cool. From Ekasi, we went to different houses, and you'd have like homemade biscuits from different places. Mom eat some more, choice assorted, all of that. That was
It's so much fun. You say you start with eat some more from the choice assorted. Because I remember whenever choice assorted, look, let's start here. It is not Christmas or festive season
without trust.
There's no choice assorted.
That doesn't. What is?
It's a marvel to me that you can still find choice assorted during the year like this. Back in the day, you only started seeing them when it was close to festive season.
And remember the one with the tin? I just forgot the name.
Oh,
the blue tin. Oh, those. Oh my God, those were quite nice. You know, the most heartbreaking moment is when, say, Christmas has passed, but you're like, there's probably one or two in there, and then you go grab it, and it has like a lot of weight. You're like, really? Like there's cookies, there's biscuits in here. You open it, it's your grandma's like sewing machine stuff. What's going on? Sewing machine things. You're like, how could you do me like this, grandma?
Multi-purposing. It's been our thing, eh? Kind of feels like the green bar. But anyways, I won't go into it.
I think we did a topic on sunlight green bar. That thing can do anything. Anything, but yeah. And just to wrap up, in terms of fast forwarding to present day, I think what we are doing now in terms of the support that we've granted Drip and Batu, for instance, I think we need to channel the same energy towards brands like Luxian Culture, and I think from a government point of view, in terms of business development, this is the opportunity to say, Luxian Culture, how do we then invest in it, build factories, we do like marketing, whatever case may be. But I think if we come together and put our heads together, even if we put our money where our mouths are in terms of investment, I think we can rejuvenate Luxian Culture to get to where it was before, as an expression of freedom and as an expression of ikasi for us.
Granted, when you look at fashion, skinny, small socks, you have your Luxian Culture, you have your Richinisi, you have we haven't election again.
Guys,
Shout out to Elephant Noise. You have your own
guys,
trouble.
I act like I'm okay, but I need that Richard Nisi.
I don't know how many
Sweater.
followers or viewership you're gonna need for that one.
Donation, yeah. No, donation, your voice.
I think with their pricing we might need a bit more following just to get one glove, which will share.
But I need that Richard Nisi sweater.
Yeah, but shout out to our local brands, guys. We love you, and you're gonna be putting more. We're going to be talking more about them sometime later. Like also Imba Data. Shout out to them. Sorry, it's an affiliation, so I was like, hey, what's up? I love this stuff.
He has used this whole episode to plug into it.
Hey, why not?
Plug.
Yeah, and there's one also coming up called Aziwe Night. I know you guys know Aziwe Nights, which is the one that does.
There's this one that that did your bag. I think we need to put the link in the description as well, or in the comments.
Yeah, Riaz.
That was quite cool. It has the classic look to it. It's quite classic manana, you know. When you look good, feeling good, smelling good.
You know who I be.
You know who I be.
All right, cool. Anyways, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. We love you. This was the 4th episode of season 1 of The Movers Corner. Banile Shabalala signing out. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Guys, another fantastic episode. And on the next one, we actually have a guest. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be quite awesome. And Banile is giving away his AirPods. I'm just saying. I'm kidding, guys.
I don't know that part of the script. See what happens when you freestyle everything, guys. You start saying, but anyways, cool.
Thank you, guys.
Alright, cheers.